Hello, my dears. You're looking absolutely lovely today. Thank you so much for joining me. I am doing a swatch and an unbox swatch and review of these Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors. Now, I bought these from Jackson's Art Supplies in Australia as a special order online. These are 46 colours, and I'm going to be opening them up, seeing what's in there, and having a look at them, then giving a review of it at the end after I have unboxed them and swatched them. So let's get into it. All right. So they have the colours listed on the back, and looks like there are a couple of duplicates of some of the more popular colours, but we'll see when we unwrap them. We'll have a look. So let's see. Okay, so that's it. See if I can open them. Being tricky. It's rather stiff to open.
That's what she said.
All right, so I've got the box open. Let's see now. We have, looks like there is a palette. Book here. Ooh. Oh, well, that is totally unexpected. I was not expecting them to be individually wrapped. I assumed, given the picture on the front page, that they were already going to be in the box already unwrapped. So I'm going to have to, they're little half pans, I'm going to have to unwrap them all individually. What else do we have? So we have a paintbrush with it as well. This is a number 3 Cotman Winsor Newton paintbrush. Nice size, a bit fine, not for big heavy brush strokes, but good for small details. Let's just pop him over there. Okie dokie. Several palettes, a couple of different palettes, so you can use the back. You can use the palettes here for mixing. Oh, it also pops out. So also unexpected. So I haven't broken it. It's just slots in there. So obviously if you're you need that out of the way, you can just pop it off, and I'm going to just pop it off for the moment. It's a nice little addition there. And we have also some more mixing sections on here. So let's get started. All right, see how easy they are to unwrap. Has the colours on it. And this is going to, all right, unwrap these. The colour is mentioned on it, so I'll keep those. Whoops. All right. So let's have a look. This one is a cadmium yellow, I believe. Very small. It does say the colour on it. It says it is a lemon yellow hue. So probably want to keep the little papers, so I'll keep hold of them. So that's, oh, it also has them written, has the colour written on the side as well. So if you need to reorder, you can do that. I'm just going to pop that in there. Open a couple of these. Hopefully it won't take forever. Here we go. Oh, there's plastic on them as well. Right. Okay. So this one is lemon yellow hue as well. So there's a duplicate already. Right, well, this is going to take me a while to unwrap all of these and put them in the palette. So I'll be right back. So that's that done. All the colours are unwrapped, and here they are. They are sort of strange because you can move them around a little bit. You can lift them up out of their palette. You can put them back in whatever order that you choose, depending on how you like to paint. You might prefer to put your own colours in. You might like to rearrange them by tone or colour hue or whatever it is. So this is all the colours. I did notice that this one here, when I unwrapped it, and this is turquoise, as you can see, it's got a strange film on it, and I will see what that's like when I swatch it. It may be removed when I swatch it. Now, we do have doubles of these. So there are a few that are doubles. So we've got 2 lemon yellow hues here, and I'll swatch them, and I'll still swatch them even if they're doubles, so you can see. A couple of ultramarines, a couple of Payne's greys, a couple of white. So I will do that. And also, the other thing that comes with it is a colour chart. So the small booklet that was there is actually a colour chart, and it tells you all the colours that are in the box and also how light fast they are, and just generally how opaque they are, transparent, if they stain and all that. So I'll just put the colour chart away. It also gives you a few tips on the back on how to do watercolour painting, wet on dry and dry on dry and overlapping and things. So that's that booklet. Now, I'm not going to use the palettes to do the swatches. I'm going to swatch it directly onto a pad. So I'm going to just zoom out a bit, and I have a pad, and I have some water, and I have some paintbrushes. So I'm not going to swatch using this small paintbrush here because I don't think it's quite large enough for swatching, and I have a larger one that I'm going to use so I get a better idea of the colour. Just going to put that to one side. I'm going to move the paints away somewhat to create more room for the in here. So I'm just going to move them this way. You can still see them here, but I'll just move them to one side. Now, got just a sketch pad, and I'm going to swatch them onto the sketch pad here, and then I will see what they're like, comment on them, and I'll leave a bit of space underneath for writing the colour swatches on what colours they are so that I can match them as to where they sit. So I'm thinking I will do them. They won't be in exact as they appear here, but I will do them in the order. So get my watercolour here. I'll zoom out a bit so that you can see the pad. Right. Okay. And I don't know what these will do when I add water to them and whether they require much working up. So I won't tell you exactly what each of them is as I do them because I can't see the labels, but also, ooh, that is lovely. I'll try and tell you what colours they are when I swatch them. This one here is the lemon yellow hue. And as you can see, this is a really lovely, lovely, lovely colour. So there's 2 of those, and I'll do both of them. Just do this. Same colour as you can see. No difference. Lemon yellow hue. I'm not going to do huge swatches. I'll just show you what they are. Lovely colours. This one here is a cadmium yellow pale cadmium yellow. Some of these colours are very similar, but as you can see, this one, that is lovely. This one is slightly more orangey, so it's a bit warmer, whereas this ones are a bit cooler. It's a rather nice colour. Now, this one here looks brown in the palette. This is actually a gamboge. Now, I'm not sure what that's going to... Sometimes the colour in the palette doesn't necessarily reflect the colour that appears on the page. So let's see what that one looks like. So as you can see, it's not actually brown. It's actually a lovely golden yellow, I guess. Really interesting. And I will write these colours underneath, as I said, and I will put them on the video at the end. This one here is I'm just going to swatch them quickly. This one is cadmium yellow hue. The other one was a cadmium yellow pale hue. This is cadmium yellow hue. So as you can see, this one is quite a bit brighter than this one here. What's the cadmium yellow pale hue? This is the cadmium yellow. It's lovely. That's beautiful shade of yellow paints in here. The next one is cadmium orange hue. That's rather lovely colour. So cadmium orange. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That one looks a bit, it does actually remind me of a pumpkin. It's a beautiful colour. Look at that orange. It's very vibrant. I like that one. Very autumny, very vibrant, very lovely. The next one is cadmium red pale. Again, there's sometimes different versions of it, a pale and a dark, and sometimes a medium version. This one here is cadmium red pale. It is quite nice. You can see how the colour variation goes from very pale to a very lovely. I like cadmium red. It's one of my favourite colours. It's a warm red, very good for adding a bit of warmth to skin tones if you're painting portraits. I am a portrait artist, so I'm really looking forward to using these on a portrait. So that's what I enjoy doing. It doesn't look a lot different. It's definitely slightly darker, not significantly. It's hard to tell. There's only one cadmium red included in this, so it's definitely not a duplicate. So there we have the cadmium red pale. There. Cadmium red. Now, this is a nice one. I'm going to lift this up and have a look and see what this one actually is. And that's the beauty of it. You can lift it from the palette and it's written on the side. So this one was cadmium red deep. Anyway, this one, I will write the colours underneath, as I said. So as you can see, we do have two which are very similar. Cadmium red light and cadmium red are very similar. And this is cadmium red deep, so it's almost like a crimson. Quite lovely. And then this one here, this one is actually the alizarin crimson hue. This one should be significantly, oh, that's lovely. Look at that. Nice, deep crimson colour. So sometimes it seems like there's not a lot of difference between several of the paints. Some of them seem very similar, but I will zoom in on it afterwards, and so you can see the variations there. So that was alizarin crimson. They look darker in the palette, but they're not necessarily darker when you paint them. This one should be, this one is another. Looks like we've got a couple of alizarin crimsons. We do, we have two of these. That's why they look identical. They include a couple of different, sort of two of the same of the most popular colours, and that makes up the 45 paint colours that are there. Doesn't include 45 individual paints. Some are duplicates, but only those ones that are the most popular. There's duplicates of each of the primary colours, so 2 of the red, alizarin crimson, 2 of the ultramarine blue, and 2 of the lemon yellows. So this one here, that's lovely. Look at that, it's a nice pinky colour. This one here is a permanent rose. So this is a lovely one to use if you're going to do skin tones as well. It's a very pinky colour. We'll get a close-up look afterwards. So That one was Permanent Rose. This next one is Rose Madder Hue. Very similar. There are slight variations in it. One's more pinkish, one appears to be a little bit more purplish. And it also depends on when you add, if you add more water or less water. If you pull the water down through the paint, you'll end up with different results. I'm not doing that. I'm just purely doing solid swatches today. Otherwise, it will take a very long time. This one here is called Purple Lake. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. That one is absolutely beautiful. It is a lovely, lovely colour. Got a purpley pink colour. Then here we have a mauve, old mauve. Ooh, I love these colours. Look at the richness of that one. Just the depth of colour in that is beautiful. That's a deep one. That's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. They're getting into the purples. So it's colour coordinated. So it goes from the light yellows, it's like rainbow colours, and then goes down to the darker colours. This one, ooh, oh, I love this one. This one here is dioxazine purple. And it's a very nice purple. It's very hard to get a really nice purple, but you can also get it by mixing your blue and your red, but sometimes it's hard to get an exact. This one is very nice, and I can imagine it'd be lovely for painting flowers. So now we've got ultramarine blue, one of my personal favourites. We'll see how this handles it. Different palettes and different paint sets have different ways of handling the colours. Oh, that's lovely. I say that a lot. One of my favourite colours, ultramarine blue, is such a beautiful, almost a royal blue. It's really nice. And it's also one of my favourite ones for use with portraits because it makes really nice shadows. This one again, I'm doing this one as well. Now we have two ultramarines. So that's going to be identical here because clearly it's the same colour. So don't expect a difference there. Sometimes the little hands, a slight different mix. So even though the colour's the same, you might still get a slight variation. This one here is, they rattle around in there a little bit. They're not fixed. This one should be a cobalt blue hue. Oh, that's different. Was not expecting that. So this one is almost like an ultramarine. It's not an ultramarine. I kind of expect cobalt blue to be more of a sky color, sky blue color. In my other watercolors, it's more of a sky blue. So there you are. This next one is cerulean blue. That kind of has more of a sky blue. Oh, that's rather nice. So this is more your sky blue color, cerulean blue. Very nice blue, very pale. Now, the next one is going to be this one here, which had the white film over the top. Now, it could be the way it was poured, and I'm hoping it's not affected the paint underneath. This one is a turquoise. So one of my favourite colours is turquoise. That's very vibrant, very dark, very, very deep colour. It's not showing quite as vibrant on the screen, but I'll zoom in and then hold it to the light and hopefully you'll be able to get a better idea. Next one is an intense blue, also known as a phthalo blue in some colours. That one's nice. That one is lovely. That one is sort of very vibrant, very rich colour, very nice. Next one is a colour called Prussian blue. Now, Prussian blue is one of those interesting ones. I haven't seen it appear. It used to be popular and then it disappeared from a lot of palettes and was very hard to get hold of. This includes Prussian blue, so I'm really curious as to how that looks. Interesting. It's more of a navy, kind of a grey navy sort of blue. Interesting. Now, we're getting into the greens now, my favourite. I love green. Green is my favourite colour. Favourites being teal and basically any shade of green. So this one here is an intense green. Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. It's almost a viridian. That's a very nice green. Stands out really well against the others. I'm just fading it off here to see what it does when the water sits on it. It handles fading. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Leaving enough space underneath, as I said, to write the colours in. And I thought that was close to viridian, but the next one is actually, in fact, viridian. So let's see how vibrant that is. Viridian's always been an incredibly vibrant colour. So oddly enough, not as vibrant on the sets of pan colours as it is in my liquid watercolours, but it's still a very vibrant green. Be very nice for seascapes and things like that. Not a natural green, but still a very nice green. And the next one is emerald. Now, I haven't come across this one in a painting set before, so we'll see. Let's see what this one... Oh, that's rather nice. It's not what I would call an emerald colour. I would put emerald as being a little bit more of a deeper green, but I guess it depends. So these greens are sort of similar in their own way. This one and this one up here, that's lighter and a bit more vibrant. And this one is not as deep as I would imagine, but it's still a very nice colour. Then we've got Hooker's Green. One of the ones that's generally included in most watercolour palettes, Hooker's Green. I don't use it very often, but that is rather nice green. It's good for landscapes. A nice grey green, rather attractive green. So that's Hooker's Green Dark. And the next one is Hooker's Green Light. It looks darker in the pan, but we'll see. Hooker's Green Dark. I think they might have them the other way around. This is definitely not a light version of Hooker's Green, but that's what it says. Hooker's Green Dark, Hooker's Green Light. I would have them swapped around personally. So unless there's a mistake in the pans, that's what it says. So I'll check that later. And then the next one is Sap Green. Sap Green is a colour I use a lot. It's a nice leafy green. Yes, that's definitely Sap Green. That's a nice green. So if you do a lot of landscapes, it's a lovely green. All right, now we're getting into the browns, the earthy tones. So it's a nice set. Contains a lot of colours you'd be using. This is a raw sienna. It's very light. I'm adding a bit more pigment. It is a pale, almost golden brown. Not a bad colour. Then you have a yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a more earthy tone. This one actually has more pigment. I can sense when I get my brush wet. It's actually a lot... See, there's a lot more substance to it. This one's a bit wispy. Doesn't sort of... It's not very deep, so I would be inclined to use my yellow ochre as opposed to the raw sienna, but sometimes it's a slight different. One of them's more golden and one of them's more brown. And the next one is raw umber. It's another earthy tone. That's a nice colour. It's a nice brown. Nice earthy brown there. Raw umber. Then we have another one of my personal favourites, if this is the one that's meant to be. This is Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is another one of my favorite colors. Yeah, that's nice. Look at that. It's a beautiful reddish brown, almost an orange. And burnt sienna is a color that I use a lot when I do my portraits. Again, because when it's mixed with ultramarine, it makes beautiful shadows. You get some lovely grayish shadows, which are absolutely delightful. Now, this one is a light red. I'm guessing it's not really a red. Oh, that's lovely. Look how rich that is. It's like a very nice, that's a very nice red. It's kind of a very nice reddish brown, and it's quite deep in tone. Some of these have a lot of pigment and others don't have so much. And this next one is an Indian red. I have this in my other watercolors. I don't use it very often. It's actually a very nice one too. So it's not like a brick red. Again, it's a really nice browny red color. Then we have a color that I haven't used before, just called Van Dyke Brown. So I'm not sure I need all these colors, but it's nice to have, ooh, that's lovely. It's nice to have a selection. That's a very nice brown. So you learn new things every day. We'll most likely be using this one more often. Burnt umber is my next one. Burnt umber. That's quite a nice one too. It's sort of a different to this one. This one's kind of more your dark brown, very deep brown. This one's almost a chocolatey colour, but it's a little bit reddish. Now, the swatches aren't even. This is what happens when I swatch. I don't do nice even blocks of colour. It's just as I mix them and put them down. So that one was a burnt umber. This one here is a sepia. Now, you probably know that sepia is generally the colour they choose when they do old-time photographs. It's kind of a sort of a nice, interesting brown. Then we have indigo. Indigo is a blue. It's a kind of a blue, but it's down here. Let's see. I'm curious. Oh, it's kind of a bluey grey. Very interesting. Sort of a, almost like a navy, but not. See, this one's more a navy blue, and this one is kind of a darker, almost like a steel grey blue. It's a really nice colour. And then you have a Payne's grey, which is similar to this, but I think it contains a little bit of different mixes of blue. So this is a Payne's grey. So this is more grey. It's closer to black, but it is actually a blue grey. I have two of those. So two Payne's greys. I believe that's two of them. So I'll put another one down here. So you can get different effects. In my other paints, it is more of a blue grey, but here it's a little bit more, it's got a bit more black in it. And then I'm coming into the home stretch now.
And now as we go into the home stretch,
Not many more paints to go. And we have lots of black. Now, there are lots of different blacks. This paint set contains two different ones. So this contains a ivory black, which is kind of a bit more of a, I'll have to dilute it so you can see, it's sort of a more of a transparent black. And then you've got the lamp black, which I'm about to put on there. Lamp black is, it's more dense, and as you can see, it's slightly different in tone down here. It's a different sort. One is kind of more of a, has more of a warmish tone, and the other is like more of a cool tone. But they're both a really good black, and it depends on what you're using it for. They have different light fastness and different transparencies depending on what you want to use it for. Now, my water is a little bit dirty, and I don't know how I'm going to paint the next one. There are 2 whites, but you get different types of whites as well. You get titanium white and you get Chinese white, and there's a couple of other ones. This one contains a Chinese white, and I think it's because it's slightly more opaque. I don't know how I'm going to put that on the paper, on a white paper, with everyone being able to see it, but I'll paint it anyway, so you can't see it. Of course you can't see it because it's on white paper. And if you could see it, it's only because there's remnants of sort of black on my paintbrush. So I won't paint both whites because there's no point. But you get 2 of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on these so you can see them a little bit better. And then I will hold them even closer. Right. Okay. Now, these are all the colours I have just swatched. And these are a really nice set of, I would call them studio. They're actually touted as studio watercolour set. You could take them travelling, but to me it's just a little bit too big. I've got a smaller set. But I think as a rule, this particular brand, these are Winsor and Newton Cotman Watercolours. Some would say that they are student grade. I would disagree with that. They are definitely artist's grade. There is nothing inferior about them. I use them. They were the very first watercolours I've ever had. And I've never had a set quite this large. But I'm very, very happy to have a set like this. It's definitely worth looking at purchasing because they're very good value for money. They go on smooth. They don't have a, I'll just have a look, hold it up. So as you can see, the colours are very vibrant. They're not cheap and nasty. They dry nicely. They don't really dry lighter, like a lot of watercolours will dry lighter, but these ones are, as you can see, I've put them on quite thick, but you could dilute them down, and I suspect even like down here, you'd still retain some of it. Some of them are a little bit more granulated, but in general, they're very nice paints. Definitely worth the money. And so I would give these definitely a 5-star. I really like them. The only thing I would probably criticize slightly is the fact that the box is really hard to open, and it does take a long time to unwrap all the little individually wrapped pans. But I guess that protects it from getting cracked or dry or breaking, falling out, all that. It protects them individually, and you can buy the pans individually if you need to replace them. So I will write down what the colours are under each one, and then you'll get to see them. And I will be right back. All done. I have written in all the colours underneath each of the swatches so that you can see which one belongs where. And it's also a good practice to do this with all your swatches so that you have an idea of what colour you have, so that when you start painting, you'll know what colour you're reaching for, and you'll always hopefully get the right colours. So that's my unbox, swatch and review of these lovely studio set of Winsor and Newton Cotman Watercolours, 45 piece special order from Jackson's Art Supplies in Australia. Thank you so much for watching the unboxing. And if you like the video, like, subscribe, and then I can do more of these unboxing videos. So I hope you enjoyed that. And it was lovely to have you join me. So look after yourselves and take care. Bye until next time.